Praise the Lord. My dear sisters and brothers in Christ, last July we have been meditating on the work, life, mission and vision of Ivanios in relation to the celebration of Ivanios Day. This month, as we are getting ready for the celebration of the reunion day, we are again thinking on the life and mission of Ivanios. I have given a lecture on the topic Ivanios as the Newman of the East in Malayalam at that time. Today I'm going to speak about two prominent Catholic cardinals who are related to the life of Ivanios. The first one is Edward Aloysius Cardinal Mooney. The second one is John Henry Cardinal Newman. The first one is related to Ivanios because they were known to each other personally, and the second one is related to Ivanios because their work and their mission and their reunion efforts are closely related. Edward Aloysius Mooney was born in Mount Savage, a small village in Maryland in the United States of America, on May 9, 1882. When he was 5 years old, his family moved into Youngstown, Ohio, and later his father died there, and his brother and him helped his mother to run a small bakery they had there for their livelihood. Later on, he joined St. Mary's Seminary in Baltimore and was sent to Rome in the Pontifical North American College to study theology there. And as he completed the studies, he was ordained a priest on April 10, 1909. After the ordination, he came back to his home diocese and was a principal in a school and later pastor at St. Patrick's Church in Youngstown, Ohio. After some time, he was sent back to Rome again as the spiritual director of the seminarians at North American College in Rome. While he was there, he was made a bishop and apostolic delegate to India on January 21st, 1926 by Pope Pius XI. So this was in 1926. We know the time. This is the time Ivanios was making efforts to come into communion with the Catholic Church, and the presence of Cardinal Mooney greatly helped Ivanios in his attempts in his relationship with Rome, because Ivanios and thus they became good friends also. Later, in March 30, 1931, he was transferred to Japan as the apostolic delegate and later on as the Bishop of Rochester, New York, and finally the first Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Detroit, Michigan on May 31st, 1937. Cardinal Mooney is greatly admired in Detroit because of his great achievements and great activities and spiritual work there. He died in Rome at age 76 while he was there to attend the conclave which elected Pope John XXIII. He died of a heart attack. There is a familiar funny story circulating among the priests, all the priests of Detroit, which I came to know through my to the priest with whom I stayed. His pastor knew Archbishop Ivanios personally and met him and talked to him. When he was in Detroit, Archbishop Ivanios was in Detroit, he became sick and he was admitted in a hospital. There came the doctor, and the doctor was Protestant. Ivanios insisted that either he needs a Catholic doctor or the Protestant doctor should kiss the cross of Mary Ivanios. The Protestant doctor happily kissed the cross of Mary Ivanios and treated him. This became a famous story because this was an unusual story and famous story among the priests. The message of this story is that Mary Ivanios was trying to be very Catholic, even in small things. The second person I would like to talk today is Cardinal John Henry Newman and the relationship of Mary Ivanios with him. They didn't meet each other because they lived in separate times, but the life are very similar. Henry Newman was born in England, London, on February 21st, 1801, as the son of John Newman and Jemima Fortinier. They were Anglicans, practicing Anglican. The Anglican Church came into existence when Henry VIII, the King of England, broke his relationship with Rome and started his own church in 1534. So he grew up as an Anglican, and then at age 15, 1816, joined Oxford University. He was a brilliant student, and he was admitted to the Oxford University, and in 1818, Trinity College, Oxford, gave him a 9-year scholarship to study there for £60 each year. This was a great scholarship, and he, after graduating from Trinity College, Oxford, he joined the Oriel College there and became a fellow and a teacher there. In 1825, at age 24, while he was a student there, he continued to study to become a priest in the Anglican Church, and in 1825, at age 24, he was ordained an Anglican priest. And later he was appointed pastor of St. Mary's College at Oxford in 1828. During this time, while he was at Oxford, he began to study on the roots of the Anglican Church to make it more vibrant. He wanted his church to be vibrant and make it vibrant to the people. So he studied the roots of the Anglican Church. He and some of his friends together began to study the fathers of the church. Some of the fathers they earnestly studied: Origen, Tertullian, Athanasius, Chrysostom, Augustine, and Jerome. Their intention was to establish the apostolicity and also the authenticity of the Anglican Church. Thus, they started the famous Oxford movement there. And they published 90 theological articles in the newspaper. People began to read all those things. These were highly theological and at the same time simple and practical instructions for the people also. They are together known as the Tracts of the Times. This was published from 1833 to 1841. In Malayalam, we could translate it as Kalanusruda Leku Lekakal, Tracts of the Times, 90 theological articles. And then they began to translate the work of the church fathers, the fathers of the church. And that work, these were 12 scholars came together, and that works came out as a 48-volume work. And this was known as the Library of the Fathers. So thus, that also began to be circulated among the people. But the efforts, his effort to find The origin and the beginning and the roots of the Anglican Church ended up in becoming Catholic. He became a Catholic in 1845, October 9th, and then a Catholic priest on 30th May 1847. This was the most difficult decision he made. And this could be the most difficult decision anyone could make in the historical and religious context of that time in England, because English Catholics were considered second-class citizens. They could not apply for a government job or did not have any high status in society also. Many of his friends advised him that this is a suicidal decision and he would retract from his decision. His family members also abandoned him, including his sister Harriet Moseley, who broke the relationship with Newman for the rest of her life. This was heartbreaking for Newman. But he did not consider this as a great problem when he was looking for truth. Many people say that he became Catholic because of his studies, because of his intellectual endeavors. But those who know well Newman, they say that it was his prayer life which led him to the Catholic Church. God was leading him to the Catholic Church. It was in 1850 Pope Pius XI re-established the hierarchy in England at that time. We may think that if from 1534, for centuries, there was no hierarchy. The English Church functioned without a hierarchy, and there was a big protest against it in England. The Anglicans protested against it. What Newman did is he traveled throughout England and gave lectures, and which is available today, published as Lectures on the Present Position of Catholics in England, where he explained the suffering the Catholic Church goes through in England at that time. One of the greatest achievements for Newman is the establishment of the Catholic University in Ireland. He made several lectures in Dublin on the establishment of a university. The bishops in Ireland invited him to give these lectures, and then he was appointed as the first rector of the university there. Now, after some time, for some unknown reasons, it was ceased to exist for a short time, and then it re-emerged. Now it is the University College Dublin with 1,500 academic staff and 32,000 students. The largest university in Ireland was started by Newman. And during that time, he went to Dublin and gave lectures, and these lectures are published as a book, The Idea of a University. So he was trying to explain education in Catholic outlook. This is a noble text on higher education. Many people still consult this text on education. He argued that for good education, there should be good teachers who can influence the life of the students. And also, the aim, the purpose of a secular Catholic university is not to give moral or theological or religious education, but intellectual to raise the students to a higher level. That was the content of what he was talking. In Pope Pius XI invited personally Newman to attend the first Vatican Council, which he conducted from 1867, convened in 1867. He personally invited, but as a Catholic theologian. But Newman could not attend it because of his failing health. In 1877, he was invited back to Oxford and was selected as the first honorary fellow of Trinity College. This was a great honor. Newman considered this as a great honor since he did not get the recognition while he was a student or a professor there, and in fact they rejected him because of his Catholic background, and this was a great honor. He went back there and he was accepted, and he appreciated that gesture also. Then one of the greatest of all the honors Newman received in 1879, May 12th, Pope Leo XII personally chosen Newman as the new cardinal of the Catholic Church. This was against the opinion or advice of many others because of the Anglican protest, and some of the Catholics also. Some of them objected this. So this was a personal decision from the Pope. But Cardinal Newman made two conditions to accept this honor. The first one was he wanted to remain as a priest. Normally, almost all of the cardinals were bishops at that time, and he wanted to remain as a priest. And the second, to remain in his oratory in England even after becoming a cardinal. Those who were not bishops were to live in Rome, the cardinals. The Pope accepted both of these conditions, and he happily became a cardinal in the Catholic Church. He died in Birmingham Oratory on 11th August 1889. The last many years of his life he spent in rewriting the books he written as an Anglican. He wrote all those books on the basis of the Catholic theology. So Cardinal Newman is considered one of the greatest luminaries of the 19th century, not only in England, but all over the world, because of his intellectual abilities, his intellectual contribution, and also of his sanctity. Newman is the one who was declared a saint in England after many, many centuries. In 2019, October 13, Pope Francis declared him a saint in the Catholic Church, and the official representative of that canonization from England was Prince Charles, which is a sign that even the church he abandoned, he was successful in making them accept him again. And Prince Charles wrote a beautiful article in the official magazine, official paper in Rome, Le Osservatore Romano. He wrote a beautiful article on Cardinal Newman also. So now, those who are familiar with Ivanios know well the connection and the relationship between the two, the parallelism between the two. I may point out a few of them also here. The first, they both tried to spiritually renew the church. They were born. Their own church. It was their effort to renew their own church, which ended up in coming to the Catholic communion. Ivanios was trying to save the divided church after the Queen Cruz oath, the Putencourt faction. Second, he was the most learned priest, just like Cardinal Newman. Archbishop Ivanios was the most learned priest of the Orthodox Church at that time. He tried to educate the youth by taking them all to Calcutta in Sarapur University at his own expense. Third, there are hundreds of excellent educational institutions which were witness to the educational thinking of Ivanios. He started all over in Kerala, including the renowned Ivanios College, Ivanios Autonomous College, which he started in the name of his heavenly patron, Ivanios. Fourth, the establishment of two renowned religious congregations, Order of the Imitation of Christ for men and Sisters of the Imitation of Christ for women. They are famously known as Bethany Fathers and Bethany Sisters, which actually Cardinal Newman could not start. So, in that sense, Ivanios is in certain levels higher than Cardinal Newman. Both of them faced several opposition. Fifth, both of them faced several opposition and challenges, but they did not fear them. It is because they knew the truth and they wanted to follow the truth. Their friends deserted them. Family abandoned them. But they followed the truth and they did not abandon God, and hence God did not abandon them. And sixth, both of them were poised to achieve great leadership roles in their own church. If Cardinal Newman might have stayed in the Anglican Church, if Ivanios should have stayed in the Orthodox Church, they should have achieved greater heights. But that was not their intention. They left aside everything and walked to the Catholic Church empty-handed. And seventh, they didn't end up empty-handed in the Catholic Church. It was not only the studies but also the prayer which led them to the Catholic communion, and history bear witness to the fact both of them eventually became heroes in the Catholic Church because of their heroic work. In some areas, Ivanios achieved greater heights than Cardinal Newman as the founder of two excellent religious congregations and inspiring to start many others. And also, he is the father and the head of an individual church in the Catholic communion, which is in the modern times referred as one of the fastest growing churches in the Catholic communion with great missionary zeal. The reunion and evangelization work is unparalleled in the history of the modern Indian church. Many people, not only reunion, many people came to experience Christ because of Ivanios for the first time in their life, because of the missionary effort he started after coming to the Catholic communion. Just like Newman, Archbishop Ivanios had great access to the Holy Father also, which was almost impossible in the historical context of the time. So now we gratefully remember when we remember our father in faith, Ivanios, we remember Cardinal Mooney, Cardinal Newman, who inspired Archbishop Ivanios. And there is one more thing to do. That is, just like Cardinal Newman was canonized in recent history of the Church, we need to pray that our servant of God, Ivanios, should be raised to the veneration of the altar in the Universal Catholic Church.